play. Hey everyone, I'm coming at you from one of my favorite places in Long Island, New York. Beautiful Lake Park. It's a warm day. An update on me. My computer's broken right now. The battery and the keyboard are getting replaced. So I'm filming this video on my phone. I usually film videos on my phone, but I do the editing on my computer. Since I don't have my computer, I'm not gonna edit this video. It's gonna be purely a heart-to-heart conversation with you to strengthen the bond. And I didn't prepare anything. I don't have notes or computer or anything, so it's purely coming from my heart to you to strengthen the bond. And what I want to do in this video is open up and talk to you about my experiences and what I've been going through and some lessons that I'm currently learning. And I'm not coming at this from a point of I know everything or egotistical people, because I hate that. I'm just trying to open up and share what I'm going through because it's helping me in the process integrate a lot of these lessons that I'm currently learning. So let me think about what I'm gonna say. Okay, I have some coffee with almond milk. I don't really like almond milk, but it's healthy. Anyway, I recently discovered a rapper that passed away. His name is XXX Tentacion. I hope I said that correctly. Rest in peace. So I wasn't aware about him before, but I watched one of his interviews, and to give you some background, he wasn't perfect during his life. He did a lot of bad things, but before he passed away, it's clear to me that he tried to inspire people and live his life with dignity and respect. And I resonate with some of the things he says. So one of the things that he spoke about in an interview that I watched on YouTube was he believes in the concept of creation and evolution for us. So I'll give you my opinion on what that means. Creation. I believe that you, me, everyone are all creators. We're all creators. We all have the potential. We all have the power to create the life that we want to live. And it's truly amazing. And I still can't really wrap my mind around that. And you know, I don't even think it needs to be like a doctor or a lawyer or even an artistic person like an artist or a chef. It could really be anything. Like if you want to, you know, if you want to be a fairy, you can take on the mannerisms of a fairy. If you want to be, you know, a basketball player or, you know, an athlete, you can be an athlete, right? You can really do whatever you want. Of course, there are limitations, but really, are there any limitations? Most of the limitations, I believe, we're putting on ourselves, or we're listening to other people. So we have full control over our lives. And of course, what you're going to say and what I'm thinking too is that's not possible. We have responsibilities, we have families, we have jobs. You're absolutely right. Because that's society. And I don't discredit that. I think it's very important. So I think it's important to find a balance between living our lives with creativity and creating our own destiny while still functioning in society. Okay, I'm not saying go be counterculture, or I'm not saying be totally integrated into society. Find the sweet spot for yourself where you can still do what you like to, where you can still do what makes you happy while still living in the society that we live in, okay? Not to be too crazy. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of just winging what I'm saying right now. And evolution. So in science class, I remember Charles Darwin, the theory of evolution, and he talked about like finches adapting to their environment with different beaks so they could eat different types of food. I also believe that as humans and to a degree, not to a degree. Nature adapts and adjusts all the time to changes around the environment. And change is inevitable. Change is definitely inevitable, and adaptation, I believe, is necessary for our lives too. You can look at the advancements in technology now. We have things called NFTs and TikTok, and me filming this video right now, and you're watching this on a computer, and cell phones. These are new advancements in technology that we didn't have 10 years ago. So the rate of advancement is happening all the time. And I'm not just talking about things. I'm talking about things don't just advance. We also have the potential to advance ourselves by going inward, to better understand ourselves, because I think the journey of life is not so much going outside of ourselves, but going into ourselves to find that inner knowledge, that inner knowing. I'm talking about like heart knowing, soul knowing, knowledge, that special knowledge. And that takes time. That takes time to really go inward. And I'm currently, and I have throughout different stages of my life, experienced many low periods, very low periods where I was like, what is the point of all this? What am I doing with my life? You know, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? Some people would call that the dark night of a soul. What did the Mamma Mia? Mamma Mia! Some people would call that the dark night of the soul. What that really means is that we all go through adverse difficulties sometimes. That's definitely part of life. But what I'm beginning to realize, and it's still hard for me to deal with actually, I can speak about it, but it's hard for me to actually like deal with it when it's happening, is that back to creation, I have control in how I can handle this negative situation. Right? In the past, I felt like a victim all the time. Like, why is this happening to me? But I'm trying to change my mind to say like, okay, maybe this is unfavorable, but I don't want to stay in this negative time space. I want to get out of here. I want to move forward, and I can change my outcome. I can change the current state that I'm in. So evolution, go inwards, learn more about yourself, and that's a never-ending process, I believe. Adapting and adjusting to changes in our external world and in our internal our internal our internal mind, because when we're younger, when we're children, we are socially conditioned from a young age to have these certain viewpoints of things and expectations of how we should live our life, society, and all these things. And when you get older, it's really hard to change a lot of these pre-programmed conditions, but you still can, you know, and you can evolve. So creation and evolution. Okay, it's getting cold now. The next topic that I want to talk about is, and this is very dear to my heart, is love. Love. I'm not just talking about love from a relationship. It's more than that. You know, I feel like for me, personally, I've had a lot of difficulty in my relationships throughout the years with different people. I always felt like I was giving too much. I was a people pleaser, and I always felt like I was kind of betrayed or taken advantage of. I know that may be a victim mindset, but um, that's how I felt. And well, but with that said, I've always been interested in human connection and bringing people together. I don't know why, I have an innate calling to bring people together. That's why I started working in restaurants, because I really enjoyed creating a wonderful experience for the guests. I was even crazy enough to think that if a guest had a great experience, if I could bring joy to their lives, it would make them happy. In effect, their health would be better, their relationships would be better, and everything would be better. So I thought I was kind of like a doctor, because I was sending good vibes, I was sending good energies to these people. And each person that I took care of when I was a server, bartender, manager, I was very immersed in their experience, and I truly cared from my heart about them. And when one guest wasn't happy during the evening, I would of course keep on going, but at the end of the night, when I would go home, I would feel really upset about why this guest wasn't happy. Again, I'm a little bit too extreme, but that's how much I care about people, despite growing up feeling like I was alone a lot of the time. Even when I was with a big group of friends, I felt alone and I couldn't connect to these people. So I know how it feels to feel like you don't fit in, to feel like you're alone, even when you're surrounded by a lot of people that you think are your friends. So with that said, I think love and relationships are extremely important in our life. Let's talk about romantic relationships. So male and female energies, I'm not talking about gender, I'm just talking about male and female energies, are both important. There is toxic masculinity and there's toxic femininity, and I'm not for either one of those. I'm for balance, right? But what I'm beginning to understand is that there are qualities of a male and qualities of a female that complement each other. And that's very important. But I believe from my own experience that when you put your ego into the relationship based on preconceived expectations of yourself, for example, like I'm a male, I expect that I'm gonna have this type of job, make this amount of money, all of these things. When you put that on yourself, you put out that energy, you put out that vibration, it doesn't only impact me, it impacts my partner. It's that type of energy. For a long time, I was a perfectionist. I still am struggling with this concept of perfection. And I realized a lot of this perfection, my perfection mindset, comes from my actual lack and not feeling good enough. So I not only try to be perfect for myself, but I hold others accountable when they don't meet my expectations. And that's not fair, and that's not right for myself and for others, whether it be a friend or a romantic partner. So what do I think is important in the relationship? I think self-love, but of course, like, self-love is important. You have to love yourself, and you got to do the work, before you get into a relationship. But from my experience, you can do the work before you get into a relationship, but then you get into a relationship and then you discover things that still need to be worked on. Okay? So it's a never-ending process of self-development, creation, and evolution. And you also need compromise. I don't believe in sacrifice. I believe in compromise. Okay? Compromising for one another, not sacrificing for one another. If your relationship with your significant other is aligned vibrationally, I mean like the right vibe, the right match, you're still gonna have ups and downs. But if you're aligned, there's no compromise. There's no sacrifice. There's only compromise. And I believe both partners should compromise. It's getting cold. Let me finish talking before it gets dark. Mamma mia. See the ducks? No, you can't see the ducks. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. This is something that I really think is important now, and I'm going to try to work on this. In a relationship or with any type of friendship, you usually open up and talk about many different things, and each one of us has deep-rooted insecurities and fears that we kind of bury deep inside of ourselves. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, your other partner will help. I say help, will draw out some of these insecurities that you have, or expose some of these insecurities that you have, or vice versa. Like, you can say something to your partner that triggers them and makes them feel, I don't know, like they're not good enough, or that they're not good enough, right? You can say something to make them feel like that. And let's just say they have a deep-rooted insecurity that they are not good enough because when they were younger, they weren't the brightest in school, and the teachers always, put them in the corner, and they had to go to a special resource room class. This is actually myself. So it brings back a lot of childhood trauma. And when that happens, when say for instance, when I get triggered, I have a tendency to sometimes lash out and project my insecurities onto, my partner or my friend in a negative way, and say things that I don't want to say, With that said, if I can identify that I have triggered my partner in something I am saying, then by also being triggered in what she's saying will not actually help the situation. It will actually make it worse. So I think the best way to respond, and this is so hard probably in the moment to actually do, the best way to respond if I trigger my partner and I'm aware that what I said triggered her, is to respond in love and care and compassion, rather than get upset and intensify how she's feeling. And so reply back, provide that love and support, that compassion, to let them know that you care for them, it's okay, it doesn't matter anymore, that you're still there for them. Love is the answer. So love is really powerful. It's it moves mountains. It's one of the only things that, I don't know what I'm saying. It's very powerful. Love is very powerful. It's definitely more powerful than our ego, right? Just think of the motivation that you have for your loved ones. And not just loved ones, this could be with friends too. So take that. Just a thought. Another thing with relationships, particularly romantic relationships, I don't believe in this concept of push and pull, and not texting back your partner because you're gonna seem desperate and needy. I think that is shit. I don't believe in that. I believe if you really care and like someone, you should tell them, Do not play these games like push and pull back and forth. Just tell them, stalk them. And please don't twist my words and be creepy like you're stalking them, you're throwing rocks on the door. I'm not talking about that, but what I'm saying is be intentional with how you feel about someone. If you feel love, show them that you care for them. Tell them, okay? There's no point in hiding it or making you seem like you're not interested. That's BS, in my opinion. So that's love. Love is very important. Hands are getting cold. What else do I want to talk about? Okay. Purpose is very important, and I think we all have a purpose, and we're all unique and special. And I know a lot of you, including myself for a long time, didn't really know what our purpose was to do here. And I think the only way to discover it is to go out there and try new things, and not be afraid of failing. Not be afraid of failing. That's how we discover what we like. That's how I discovered that I was passionate about restaurants and hospitality, because I actually quit my 9-to-5 corporate job and I worked in the restaurant. I started at the bottom and I did almost every position in the restaurant. I cooked too. I still haven't done a lot, but I tried it and I took a risk on myself. So I think it's important to take a risk on yourself, and I think it's never too late. It's never too late. And I think sometimes you can't really accept the opinions of others because they're coming at it from their framework, which is they're coming at it from their reference point, which is not necessarily always aligned with how you think or how you feel. They'll never know how you feel because they're not you. So people can't tell you what you should do. You shouldn't listen to people and be like, oh, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer. I know a lot of families and cultures have these expectations, but I feel like it only leads to bitter resentment if you actually do something for other people. So you need to really spend some time with yourself and go inward and try new things to determine what makes you happy, right? And I don't think it's black and white like this. Like, I am passionate about restaurants and hospitality, but I don't want to work in a restaurant again. So I'm filming these videos right now and starting my cinnamon bun bakery business and a lot of other things. So I'm not saying it's a linear thing. Like, there's adaptation and change and evolution that are in the process, but at least my core of bringing people together does not change. I think once you determine your purpose, and again, be careful of who you listen to regarding this, okay? Then I think it's important to set some type of goals for yourself. The goals for yourself help you stay on track and move forward in a positive direction to actually what you want to achieve. But please understand also that there always needs to be balance, and you need to live in the present. Okay, don't be so attached to the outcome. Like me, I'm always attached to the outcome, and then if it doesn't happen, you're gonna feel worthless again. But I do think it's important to have goals, at the same time realize that things could change and you need to go with the flow. Maybe you're not meant to go left, you're actually meant to go right, and you only discover that by going left and then looping back around. So have that flexibility while you're going after your dream, while you're going after your goals, okay? And in the process, you're going to be alone, and a lot of people aren't going to be supporting you because you might be doing something that's different from what everybody else is doing. Our society likes to copy one another. Everyone just likes to do the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to do something a little bit different, there are a lot of people that are saying like, oh, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you listen to. And everyone's experience and story is unique and different. So there's a lot of like entrepreneurs, and I respect a lot of them. But there's some of them that just position themselves, like market themselves from a framework of financial success and lack, saying like, oh, if you follow my plan, you can make upwards of, $10,000 each month. And that's great, but and I hope that happens to you. But if you attach yourself to the outcome and that doesn't happen, then you're going to think like, oh, what they're actually teaching you has no value, which it may or may not have value. It may have a lot of value. It's just that the environment has changed. We're no longer using MySpace. So MySpace marketing in 2022 is not going to work. So if you just took a course on that, it's not going to work. So the environment has changed. The technology has changed. So what worked last year might not work this year. And also, how you do something, no matter what, is going to be different from how I do something. Just like how I cook, let's say, what should I cook? How I cook spaghetti and meatballs, Mamma Mia, is going to be different from how you cook spaghetti and meatballs, even if we use the same recipe, because I'm putting my love and care and attention to it, and you're putting your love and care and attention to it. We're going to cut things differently. We're going to season a little bit differently. So don't be discouraged. You can even do it better than that person that taught you that you're going to make $10,000 a month. But you can take what they taught you, but still have the foresight to adapt and adjust in your own journey, so you make it your own, okay? No cookie cutter lifestyle. You gotta make it your own, and that's the key to anything. My butt hurts. Oh. I just got a phone call, so it canceled out. So that's purpose. And what's the last thing that I should talk about before it gets dark? Yeah, and okay, this is good. Patience is important, okay? Patience. So no matter what you want to do, it's going to take time, and you might not see the results. And a lot of guys, especially, girls too, are very result oriented and like to do things in a step-by-step fashion. It's like when you're working out, you go to the gym 3 times a week. You go there for 3 months and you'll start to see gains. That's physical gains. But what I believe, and feel free to disagree, is that we're not just physical beings, we're also non-physical beings. Okay, so not everything is in the physical. There's also a mental component to our growth that you can't see all the time. It's not in clear sight. Picture a tree. You plant a tree and you water it, every day for a year. And the tree, it's only this big after 1 year, right? That's what you can see in the physical with your own eyes. But what you can't see are the roots underground that are spreading each and every day. Think of that as your non-physical component. So you're getting stronger up here, but it's easy to lose sight of your progress when you can't see, the actual shifts. But if you take a step back and go inward, you can feel them. And I still have a lot of struggles with this, but things take time. And just because, you know, just because it didn't happen how you wanted it to at this certain time doesn't mean it won't happen again in the future. I'll give you an example to encompass some of the themes that I was talking about, like don't necessarily listen to other people, and be able to adapt and adjust. For my cinnamon bun business, I started selling at farmers markets in Long Island, and I moved into a commissary kitchen in Long Island City. I'm really happy about that. So I'm working on making the buns at scale. And then I thought of the idea to try to get into wholesale with New York City cafes, because it would be a great addition to cafes. And I went around New York City, gave out many samples to cafe owners, emailed, called, like dropped off. It was a lot of work. And, you know, due to the current times, or due to many reasons, like I'm not a well-established brand, not a lot of people were interested in my product. Turned out 4 cafes were interested, but they kept pushing their start date back. They didn't want to actually like turn the key and test out my buns. But prior to that, they told me that my buns were too big, that I should make the buns smaller, that it was too expensive, and I should make it cheaper. So you know what I did? I spent a lot of time making the buns smaller. I lowered the price. And did they still end up running a test with me? No, they didn't. So, and you know what? My cinnamon buns look better larger anyway, and I was selling it too cheap just because I was desperate. So when things don't necessarily materialize in the physical form, take a step back, realize that there is growth, you're doing better than yesterday, and also go easy on yourself. You know, if you're putting in the work and you're on your purpose, be proud of yourself, because many people don't have the courage to do what you're doing. You know, there's no step-by-step plan to like solve what you want in life. You know, it takes faith and courage to go after your dreams. There's never really a right time, you know. You don't even have to know exactly where you're going. You just have to take the first step. Mamma mia! And, you know, it's a difficult pill for me to swallow, because I feel like it's been very tough for me, and I am very fortunate for my life. Like, I am very grateful. I've had a very good life. I cannot deny that. I have a lot of luxuries in my life that a lot of people don't have. But we all go through adversity, and you know, I'm not going to say that I haven't had difficulties too. So patience. All right, and these are some themes that have been in my mind that I'm trying to work through and sort through and move through this time period of my life with, and share with you. I hope that this could maybe inspire you, or maybe you just think that you're not alone. That would make me feel good. Again, I don't have all the answers. I really don't. It's really even hard for me to just sit here and film this video with you. But I hope that you enjoyed my little rant, and my growth. A lot of you have been watching my content from the beginning. You know, I had hospitality videos where I walked around New York City with no jacket on during the winter, to cooking with my grandmother. Now I have these like self-development, spiritual videos, and you know, I'm evolving, and I hope you are too. I wish you well. So please like and comment on the video if you found any value in it. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, wish you well, and I hope the best for you and your friends and family. And you know, thank you so much. I'm very grateful that I had this opportunity to film this video. It's getting cold in here. I'm not going to edit this video, so it's going to be posted. I don't know who's going to watch it because it's too long, but thank you. Peace.